Hello, everyone, and welcome to this month's workshop. We're going to be covering the influences of foot and shoe wear, a very important topic. So let's get into it. So, just going to put my slideshow up. All right. So the topics we're going to be covering today. So why does footwear matter? So the fundamentals of foot structure, common problems caused by shoes, good versus bad shoes, the benefits of being barefoot and minimalistic shoes, foot exercises for strength and stability, and the role of chiropractic in foot health. So, why does footwear matter? So, your feet are the foundation of your body's support system. So, the footwear you wear directly impacts your foot health, the stability you have, your alignment, and your overall posture. Different footwear affects how forces are distributed along the kinematic chain. So from the ankles to the knees to the hips/pelvis into the lower back. So therefore, wearing the wrong pair of footwear can quietly contribute to long-term problems. So the fundamentals of foot structure. So the foot contains 26 bones, quite a few bones, 33 joints, and over 100 muscles, tendons, and ligaments. So these structures work together to support weight, enhance movement, and provide balance. So the foot is divided into three main parts. So you've got the forefoot, the midfoot, and the hindfoot. So the forefoot includes the toes, so the phalanges, these bones along here, okay, and the long bones, the metatarsals, which are these ones here in this row here. So it's made up of these bones, phalanges, and the metatarsals. The midfoot contains the tarsal bones that form the arches of the foot, including the cuboid, the navicular, and the cuneiform bones. So we have the navicular, which looks like a boat. We have the cuneiform bones, which consist of the middle, the medial, and the lateral cuneiform. And we also have the cuboid bone, which sits on the outside of the foot. The hind foot consists of the heel bones, so the calcaneus, and the talus, which form the ankle joint with the tibia and the fibula. So these two bones sitting here. So you've got the calcaneus, and you've also got the talus, which sits here as well. So the bones, so 26 bones, are organized into three groups: the tarsals, metatarsals, and phalanges. So the tarsals, these are the bones of the midfoot and the hindfoot, including the tarsals and the calcaneus, the heel bones. The metatarsals, these are the long bones, like previously mentioned. And the phalanges, there are the toe bones that we mentioned before. So what are common problems caused by shoes? So common problems caused by shoes. So when we have ill-fitted shoes, which are too big or too tight and don't allow for our bodies to build proper stability and support for our feet and body, there are many different problems which can arise. So we're going to go into some of those problems. So these problems can include foot pain and discomfort, blisters and calluses, bunions and hammer toes, plantar fasciitis, ingrown toenails, poor posture and gait, Morton's neuroma, ankle and foot arthritis. So there's a broad range of problems which can be brought about by not wearing the correct shoes which are too tight and don't lack for proper support and allow for proper stability in the feet. So good versus bad shoes. So we're going to go into some good versus bad shoes and go through them. So there are three main things to be looking for when deciding to buy a new pair of shoes. So the three things consist of a wide toe box, so meaning you want to be able to have your feet splaring out, so adequate splaying out of your feet so they have enough room to move. No foot drop, meaning you want the plane of the shoe to be equal across, so not having an increased heel at the back and a thinning at the front. So we want to make sure that there is no toe drop between the front and the back of the shoe. Thin soles, meaning we want to have as little sole as possible in terms of everyday shoes. So we're building up stability and function of the small intrinsic muscles, the ligaments, and improving our overall proprioception in our feet. So we have stability. So we'll go into all of these in more detail now. So we got the wide toe box. So you can see here with this image here, you can see how that shoe is very compressing on the feet and the toes don't really have much area to move. Whereas here with the wide toe box, there's adequate space for the toes to be able to be free and move and be free and just movable as well, have more movement. So having a wide toe box allows for your shoes to spread properly within the shoe. This helps prevent issues such as bunions and hammer toes, which can develop from when the toes are compressed in narrow footwear. Especially with bunions, we know that in bunions, you get that inwards curvature or bend in the big toe, and that can actually be predisposed from actually having a narrow shoe box. So this is more of a chronic thing, which happens over a longer period of time, which actually over time leads to those bunions forming in the feet, meaning we can avoid that from happening by wearing shoes which are nice and wide in their space, so your toes can not be compressed, basically. So no toe drop. So we can see here from this image here, so we've got the stack height versus the heel drop. So we've got the stack height and heel drop here. You can see here there's a 5mm heel drop, 10mm heel drop, and 20mm heel drop. And you can see it, you can compare that to the front of the shoe. So ideally, we want to be having an equal level heel drop to make sure that we are maintaining the right forces and equal amount of forces through the shoe and up the chain into our ankle, knee, lower back, hips, and pelvis. So heel drop, the difference between the heel and the toe of a shoe is incredibly important. So when standing for long periods, cushioning and a higher heel drop can reduce load on the body. However, during movement, it's important for the heel and toe to be on a more level plane. So again, with wearing shoes which have more cushioning, they're good for reducing the amount of load that we're placing on the body. So we're stagnant at jobs where we're standing up for long periods of time, especially. Those types of shoes are fine. However, if we are moving around and doing a lot of movement, moving place to place, we ideally want to have shoes with no toe drop. So things like high heels, which are going to place your ankles. Obviously, you've got the heel at the back, which is going to be creating a massive heel drop, and stack height at the back of the shoe. And that isn't going to be great for how we're loading through the knees and through the lower back as well. So ideally, shoes with no toe drop are the best. So a large toe drop encourages overstriding, which increases force. So meaning you're going to have a larger step, which increases force and loading through the hamstrings and calves, which can potentially raise the risk of injury. So maintaining a shorter stride helps reduce this load and promotes even distribution of forces through both the anterior, so the front, and the posterior, the back chain of muscles, which means that if our foot is level, we can make sure that muscles are being loaded normally. If we have it elevated like this, then we know the calves and hamstrings are going to be working a lot harder because that's the position they're going to be firing the most in. So the third thing you need to be looking out for is you want to have thin soles, basically. So as mentioned earlier, a thicker cushioned sole may provide more comfort when standing still for extended periods, e.g. at work. However, increased stack height changes how force is distributed. It speeds up the rate of pronation and reduces our ability to control loading through the foot. Now, pronation is when our foot moves out like that, okay? It's going to move out and away, which means it's going to be speeding up, and that's going to create, again, an unequal amount of force being distributed through the ankle, which again can predispose different types of conditions, particularly tendinopathies and overuse of certain muscle groups. So in addition to thin soles, make sure you're choosing shoes with flexible material. So flexible material allows for a greater range of motion, enabling the foot to move more naturally and adapt to different terrains, which can lead to better balance and coordination. So a good example of what flexibility should look like in a shoe, I'm going to use my shoe as a demonstration here. So we've got my shoe here. You can see how I can bend my shoe and I can deform it. Okay. That's what it means by flexibility in a shoe. If you have a shoe that's super stable and rigid, it's not going to allow for proper flexibility, which isn't going to allow you to necessarily have the best balance and coordination, and also doesn't necessarily give you the most proprioception as well for your feet to have, which again can predispose with different terrains, different types of conditions as well. So this is my shoe. I wanted to use it as a good example for a good shoe. So the main things to look out for again is that flexibility. Okay, you can also see how the thinness of the sole. It's a barefoot shoe, meaning it's basically you're walking on the ground, which is really great. I use these for work and I wear them every day. So these shoes here, again, flexibility. The toe drop, there is zero toe drop. It's equal throughout. And if we look from the top here, you can see that the shoe space, the wide shoe box, that is going to allow for ample amount of toe spreading, which is going to allow me to strengthen my toes over time. So the ligaments, muscles, tendons, everything is properly firing, improving my proprioception as well. So that's an example of a good shoe. We'll go through some more examples of good versus bad shoes now. So we obviously talked about the high heels. They're not great. You can see that there's a massive stack height here, okay, compared to the front, which is going to obviously create increased working through the hamstrings and through the calves as well. We also note that there's not much flexibility with them. They're very rigid type of shoes, which isn't going to be great for our balance and coordination. I'm sure many of you women who've worn high heels probably notice by the end of the night when you're wearing high heels that your hamstrings and calves are quite overworked and tight and sore. And you probably notice how cramped and compressed they feel on your feet as well. So yeah, we've got lack of flexibility there. We've got narrowing of the toe box as well because of how they're coming to a point and that massive stack height. So we haven't got any three of those key things we're looking for with footwear there. So onto the next shoes here. So with dress shoes for workers who work in an office, again, noted here, we can see that narrowing of the toe box isn't going to allow for that ample amount of toe spreading that we want. You're going to compress the toes. So ideally, you want to be, if you're going to get office shoes, which you want to work in, ideally you want a wide toe box to allow for those toes to spread out. So benefits of barefoot and minimalistic shoes. So benefits of barefoot and minimalistic shoes. So improved foot function. So again, our foot comprises of 26 bones combined with 31 moving joints, allowing us to scrunch, to flatten, and traverse any surface, whether flat, inclined, declined, rigid, or soft. So strengthening the intrinsic muscles, tendons, and ligaments within the foot. So modern footwear has made the intrinsic muscles in our feet less active, especially during running. Running with barefoot shoes can help to engage those inactive muscles, tendons, and ligaments to assist in performance. So other benefits, so encouragement of midfoot and forefoot landing. So it is commonly believed that the best form to have during distance running is midfoot landing as opposed to heel striding due to the biomechanical effect it has concerning anatomical structures. So improved lower limb function and coordination. So the lack of cushioning and support in the foot will cause a chain of muscle activation from the intrinsic muscles in the foot, ankle, and lower leg musculature, which can facilitate improved balance and proprioception. So similar to what I've already covered within this lecture or within this workshop so far, but that's just an added thing to add on there. So foot exercises for strength and stability. So we're going to go into some which can actually help with improving your foot strength. The leading cause of falls as we get older is a lack or dysfunction and strength in the muscles and ligaments in the feet. So if we're working on improving the foot strength with, again, wearing some sort of minimalistic shoe, doing some feet exercises, even some groundwork, is actually going to help monumentally in terms of improving our feet proprioception, improving the structure and stability, and also keeping us nice and aligned in terms of the other joints coming up the chain from the ankles, knees, lower back, hips, and pelvis. So the first exercise that's really great is toe curling. So for this, all you need is basically a cloth or a towel, and all you're doing is you're trying to scrunch the towel towards you and trying to bring it in. So you can do this for both feet. You can ideally do it when you're sitting or at home. So it doesn't really take you much effort to be doing. You can do it sitting down. And again, this is all about trying to strengthen those flexor muscles, ligaments in the feet. Toe raises. So this is going to be working your tibialis anterior, which is a muscle which sits at the front of your leg, basically. And it's often associated with things like shin splints. So this is again going to be working more so the extensor muscles of the top of the feet. And it's also going to be working that tibialis anterior muscle, which is, again, it's going to help with shin splints. It's going to help with improving the amount of flexion we're able to achieve in the foot as well. So moving on from that, we've got sand walking. So sand walking is great because we're going to be walking on uneven surfaces, meaning your foot has to stabilize itself in different movements, meaning we can improve the proprioception through ankle joint, and which is actually going to help in terms of reducing the amount or the prevalence of having some sort of foot issue or injury in the future. So again, sand walking is a great way to improve that foot stabilization. So one-legged stands. So this is going to be great for, again, with ankle stability because we're relying purely on that ankle to hold us up and be able to stabilize ourselves. We can increase this by closing our eyes and working on a proprioception level. So we're removing the visual aspect of the one-legged stand, and that's just going to further increase the testing or the proprioception. So working on furthering that stability in the ankle. There's other ways to increase the difficulty with this exercise. So you can get onto like a wobble board. And yeah, you can have someone trying to push you from side to side lightly. Those sorts of things are going to help with improving that proprioception we want to be having in the feet. So the role of chiropractic in foot health. So the role of chiropractic in foot health. So again, the leading cause for falls as we age is weakness of feet muscles, ligaments, and tendons. So chiropractic care and falls risk. So this is a study which actually showed that chiropractic care actually decreased the associated risk with falls. So sensory motor function and multi-sensory integration associated with falls risk, and the physical component of quality of life improved in older people receiving chiropractic care compared with control. So chiropractic care has been shown to be effective in reducing the falls risks in older people, which is amazing research to have there, which is conducted by Heidi Havoc and Holt and the team there. So in essence, ongoing chiropractic care has shown to decrease the risks of falls as we get older, which is quite amazing. So the role of chiropractic in foot health. So chiropractic care supports foot health by addressing the structure, function, and neurological control of the body from the ground up. So through a thorough assessment, chiropractors assess the entire kinetic chain from the ankles all the way up to the pelvis and lower back. So with precise adjustments, they remove interference within the nervous system, helping to restore proper foot and ankle motion, improve overall posture and alignment, and enhance the body's self-balance and proprioception. So there's a lot of benefits which come with chiropractic care and foot health in terms of if we're having a foot proprioception issue, we know that specific adjustments within the spine and certain joints in the body in terms of the ankle and knees, that's going to help improve mobility, improve proprioception, meaning we're going to be able to hold ourselves up properly and balance properly and improve our stability as well. So there's a bunch of benefits with chiropractic care as a whole. So this holistic approach promotes better movement, stability, and long-term function. So taking the next step, so your feet, again, are the foundation of your body. So true balance, strength, and function rely on the integration of feet, spine, and nervous system. So to truly understand how your body is functioning, a trained chiropractor will do a comprehensive assessment, looking not only at your feet, but also at the structure of your spine and the function of your nervous system. So this involves taking a detailed history, a full body physical examination, Postural and movement assessments, if clinically indicated, so advanced spinal imaging. Through this process, we can identify how imbalances in your foundation may be impacting your energy, movement, and quality of life, enabling us to create a pathway forward to correct them. So if you're ready to take the next step towards better function and long-term health, let's book your initial consultation. So your health is not how you feel. Your body can heal. Call the practice and book an appointment and transform your life. So if you know anyone who would benefit from chiropractic care, whether it's you, someone you know who has poor foot issues and poor proprioception and is very clumsy, make sure to bring them in, and we'll be able to set up a initial consultation for them. They can call the number here, or they can email us at info@provolutionhealth.com. So just as a recap for things, the three key things we're looking for when picking shoes: again, wide toe box; 2, want to be having no heel drop; and 3, we want to be having thin soles, as thin as possible for movement, for when we're moving around on the go. So you can join us on social media here at Provolution Health for regular updates on upcoming workshops, educational content, and our community as well. And that is everything there for this presentation. So if we have any questions in the chat, please send them through. Otherwise, we are finished for today. Okay, so it doesn't look like any questions are coming through. So we're all done for today. It's been a pleasure sharing this information with you. I hope you all utilize it and implement it in your day-to-day lives now. And I'll see you again very soon. All right. Thank you.